Morning, everybody. Welcome to Lockpod. This is the Midwest's most dangerous podcast, and we are coming to you live from Lake County, Indiana, Powering, Indiana.
You're
Lake
getting
County.
it.
Jeez, OP. Nika, IBAW, Powering, Indiana, Lake County Studios.
You got it.
Happy birthday, Kevin.
Thank you. Exactly how I thought I'd be spending my 55th birthday.
Man.
Morning,
Happy
Jill.
birthday.
Hey.
Thank you.
John.
Hello, good morning.
Happy birthday to Kevin, right?
A lot of happy birthday in the chat.
Mhm. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to chat, and welcome back, chat. Season 12,
What
episode 1.
Welcome back, chat.
What are these gifts here? Nut roll?
Nut roll. Thank you, Jill.
Nut
Thank you.
roll. You know it's a
Werther's.
special day when Jill busts out the nut roll.
Yes. You know,
It's
that's
like
a
a
good
holiday.
that you're right about that.
Well, it's season 12 premiere. I
If
don't
nut
think
roll is here,
it was not for your birthday. It
I
was
agree. It's for the
season 12
premiere.
Either way, you win either way.
Okay.
There's another
Yes.
gift there too, right?
There it
Jill?
is. You should open that box up.
Should open up. What is this?
I have no
What is
idea.
it?
I am
Just
afraid.
Was it
I'm
paid
afraid
for with
to open
Lockpod
this.
funds?
It was not. It was not.
What is this?
I'll send
Actually,
you the
let's
Explain
see.
it before.
I'll send you
Oh, the
receipt.
good thing is it has
Don't
Jill's
shake
home
it.
address on
Don't
it.
shake it.
This
Jesus.
is from you, Jill?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's see. It's not going to be a cool.
Whoa.
There's
It's not
like
gonna be a
literally
cool
2
Grateful
pieces
Dead
of tape
shirt.
on that box.
It's not going
Did
to
you
be a
get
cool
this at like an
Grateful
adult
Dead
gift
shirt.
store?
No. No.
Goat.
What the hell is
Goat. Are you
That's a
fucking
freaking white
kidding
Oh
me?
my God! It's a white deer.
What the?
You like that?
That's like, oh my God, that is perfect.
We are going to mount that, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, we are going to match.
Jill
Jill.
gives the best gifts.
Snow.
We'll
That is
always live
awesome.
on in our hearts.
Are you going to mount it there?
There's
I think we have to mount it.
That is the perfect
right
gift.
there in the corner, Kevin. There's
I love it.
command hooks.
Let's see this.
Damn, Jill.
That's hilarious.
Dude, Jill gives the best.
That is
gift.
not even a gift for me. That is a gift for the podcast.
It is a
You
gift for
can put it
Kevin,
on
but
your
it's a
side,
gift for
though.
the podcast. I agree.
Put it on your side.
I
It's
love
also
it.
a gift for the region, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Crown
There you
Point.
go.
You're
there you go,
welcome.
Crown Point.
R.I.P.
There you go, Crown
Just
Point.
don't tell
Never
Winfield.
So every time Crown Point comes, somebody from Crown
Yes.
Point comes in the studio, they'll just start to
Yes.
start to cry. We have Snow, the head of Snow. That is an authentic head, actually.
Oh no, it's not.
It's
Well,
an
I mean,
exact
Snow was
replica.
euthanized, and you know.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, for those out of the area who don't know this story and weren't listening to that episode, there is a famous white deer that got its leg broken, and they
Not-
just decided to...
Not
To
the
kill
Snow
it.
that had that big hit in the 80s with Informer.
No, not
It's a different one.
Informer. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
Jill comes bearing gifts.
That is going to get mounted.
Oh,
We
my.
have to write Snow
what
on
she
it, though.
said.
The deer.
Or put
Yeah,
a plaque
like
below
a
it.
yeah, a little like
Snow
label.
rips rest in peace.
R.I.P. Snow.
I love this.
All right.
Welcome back, Lockpod.
Snow lives on.
Wow.
Snow lives on.
All right. Well, it was
I
a
don't-
nice time away.
Anytime I get away from you guys, it's always a nice time.
It was a
away.
good break.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Nice.
long enough.
No, it wasn't long enough, but it was nice.
We had dinner the other day together to get us back to the groove.
My favorite part of that dinner, and thank you, Cafe Borgia, for being awesome.
What about thank you, Tom, for buying? I mean, whatever,
thank you,
you
Tom.
know?
Well, I mean,
That
you
was
know,
good.
But like the best part of the
nice of
dinner,
you.
and he's like, "Thank you, Cafe Borgia." They
No,
charged me.
I
You
haven't
realize
got- I haven't
that?
got
It's
to
not
the-
like they gave it to us.
Well, they let us use one of the back rooms,
That
a
was
little
nice.
business meeting. They're always good to us. So, and they're fans of the show, especially some of the bartenders, Hammond
Yes,
folks.
they are.
Jill, my favorite part of the meeting was Jill meeting Kyle for the first time.
Oh, I
That
forgot
can't be
about
true.
that.
I did not check his ID, so I'm still not really convinced. Could've just
That was
been a
definitely
human
Kyle. I can't
Kyle
believe
the
that's the
intern.
first time. You just thought he was fake.
being. Yeah, I thought you guys were bullshitting me this whole time.
John's alter ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is weird though.
Is
We
that how
talked
you're
about-
getting 2 paychecks from this?
Yeah.
I wish.
Kyle is a highly paid employee none of us have met.
It's called ghost payroll.
Just write it out
Yeah,
to
right.
cash.
Who is this Kyle guy? He's my intern. Shut up.
I'll get
That'd
him the
be-
checks, guys. I promise.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, Kyle wants a raise.
DBA, John Vesmar.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you got to meet Kyle, Jill.
Yeah, it was
exciting.
Wonderful.
Important.
We saw Lindsay
Yeah.
with
Notorious.
and she's recovered from her broken feet.
The Notorious.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. She was walking
Yeah.
totally fine.
Did she have rickets?
Yeah.
What
I
happened
forgot
with
about it
that?
too.
Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
That's what Dad
No,
says.
she was walking fine.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see that.
Welcome back. Well, tell me, what about you?
What do you mean?
What did you do over break?
Well, I mean, I did a lot over break, but like, I think it's more interesting what you guys did first.
I didn't do much. I kind of like
John's
enjoyed
like,
enjoyed my
It is
morning.
definitely more interesting what we did.
enjoyed my mornings without and evenings.
It is so weird when we're not on because like I realize how much time this podcast takes out of our like because when I mean it
It's
does
a time suck.
it for
Yeah, that 1 hour out of my week is killing me.
I know but but you have to prepare for at least 2 hours for the 1 hour, right?
I mean, you do.
Jill comes in and she's charming like
just
off
wing
the
it.
get.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Monday night, Tuesday morning early. and then Thursday night, Friday morning early. So it's, it cuts into some work time.
I got my head shaved. How about that?
Yeah, good job, by the way. We talked about that right before the break.
Yes, we did.
And you were trying to raise $10,000, and you doubled it.
We did 23 or 24,000.
Really good,
and we gave
awesome family.
We gave 100% of it to
Allie, and
So, which is great. It was awesome. A lot of lock potters donated. So, thank you to the audience. And
she did a great job with the shaving. I thought,
yeah,
like a professional.
Yeah.
What was the final number?
Like 23, 24.
That's incredible.
That's great. So thanks everybody.
And like I said, 100% of it we give to the family. We start the GoFundMe. We have control of the keys, basically, the GoFundMe. And then when we're done, we literally like give the password and everything to the family, and it's theirs. It's
Wow,
like,
that's awesome.
there you go.
That's easy
yours.
too. Just seems
It's
nice
super easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can't believe we didn't do this a long time ago.
Yeah,
We've been doing it this way for probably about 5 years.
I can't believe how fast your hair grows back.
I know, it's annoying.
Annoying.
No, I'm gonna shave it down again because I think it's disrespectful to the people that donated money. My hair grows so fast.
They want to get their money's worth.
Yeah,
I want to see Mayor Tom bald for months, man.
So I'm gonna do one more shave down probably this weekend. Marissa always gets pissed when I do it, but like, because she doesn't like it when my head's shaved. I don't think as much as she likes it when I have longer hair.
Mm-hmm.
So like every time I do this, I'm like, she's like, "What are you doing?"
But I noticed like
your hair finally grown back and you're shaving it.
But you also got your beard going, so it's like you.
I always do that. It's like makes the world right when it's like hair all around about the same size. So, yeah,
I'm talking about Tom's hair.
I really want to like scratch your head. Like that's the
best. Wow,
this is getting kinky.
Does that happen? Oh,
dude,
this is gonna be. Look at Tom just jumped up so fast when he heard that. When he was like,
"Do we have a camera on this?" We don't.
John, describe it. And John's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna describe that."
I'm a little bit
How'd that feel?
aroused.
it's the best part of getting your head shaved.
Women saying they want to touch your head.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
I hope Marissa isn't watching.
Oh, she is. She knows though. It just happens. I walk through a
did it all
Mexican
morning.
restaurant and people are like, "Hey, could I
Come
scratch your
on.
head?" Oh,
Shut
yeah,
up.
Come
so
on.
I stop and like she scratches my head and I
Is
try
it
not
just
to
at
do it over
Mexican
the
restaurants,
nachos.
or is it?
No, like last night. I'm just pointing it out. You know? I didn't want to get like head shavings into their nachos, so I held it off to the side. Dude, you never know what's going on in my hair.
I don't.
Because I don't shave when I don't shower
know
at
what's
all.
going on in
When
your
I get my
hair.
head shaved, I just stop showering. I don't bathe myself at all.
What?
You don't have to. You're bald.
That's
I just
right.
like let it go.
This
So, like-
came up before, and I think it's bullshit.
Yeah. When I shave my head, I just like let my hygiene go. It's great because nobody would ever know. I just walk around.
What's
But
the
you start
logic?
smelling.
What are you
There's
talking
no
about?
logic to that.
Do I smell?
I don't know.
I didn't say I stopped putting
You got two
deodorant
long
on.
sleeves
so
on.
I put deodorant on, okay? And then I jump in the pool when necessary. But other than that, I just let it go. You know, there's no reason to bathe myself when I'm bald.
Is your pool open yet?
It's open. It's really cold.
So are you bathing in it?
No wonder why you fit right in so well at Grateful Dead show.
Who's that old dude that like does it that stinks?
What
and
the hell?
has a shaved
Is
head?
that body odor?
There's 10,000 of them.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
I went to the Sphere. We're going to talk about that next show, though.
Oh,
We
That
gotta
was
do
cool.
a whole episode on it again.
Well, I had a lot of stuff, and then like this is our welcome back show, and I just thought it was too much, so I just bounced it in episode 2. But we have clips and
good. We'll see those Tuesday. John, you had a show that you.
Yeah, I flew out to New York for 24 hours. Saw Liam Gallagher.
Who'd you go with?
Paul, my brother.
Awesome.
where was the venue?
It was Brooklyn. Paramount
That's
was the
awesome.
venue. Incredible venue.
Oh, throw that photo up.
yeah,
that
let
was
me show this here.
Put that up. That is
Beautiful.
such a great photo. Did you take that?
No, this is from his official page.
That is such a cool venue.
Were you staying in Brooklyn or were you staying in Manhattan?
Stayed at like an airport hotel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so
'Cause you were like
LaGuardia.
24 hours,
It's-
right?
It's
Smart.
Brooklyn. That's Brooklyn, right?
dude,
LaGuardia?
don't
you got to
know.
get your ass into the city, man. Like stay in Manhattan.
All we saw was Brooklyn. Literally,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
had like
Brooklyn-
12 hours
Brooklyn's
to
nice,
see. Nah.
Right. Oh yeah.
You flew
It was
into the
exactly
show.
what I thought it was going to be.
It's dirty and it's
Traffic.
crowded and there's traffic everywhere and there's like nobody like that's
This
New York.
is
Sounds awful.
It's a pick I took, so we were pretty close.
That is
I'll
really
say.
close. We were like you could have. Yeah, you could have
really
thrown a
close.
water bottle at him had you wanted to. You notice
That's
in
why they
the
take the lids off.
I know, man. It sucks. You buy like a $20 bottle of water and they take the top off.
And you
Even
got to be like
worse.
really careful. It
Even
spills
worse.
more,
Yeah.
right?
Now, let me
Makes
tell you
no
how this
sense.
worked. I went and I did get a water, and it was the Liquid Death. You know,
Uh-huh.
the
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's
they
$25.
pour it in a paper cup.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I get it in a cup.
yeah, that's stupid.
So
$18 later.
I think if you're a rock star, you should that's part of the job. You just got to get hit every once in a while by a
Agreed.
bottle. You know, I mean,
Agreed.
just like you're making millions.
Oh, there you are.
This is me in line with the Arcid flag.
Right on, like,
what is
that's his
Arcid?
it's been his nickname since Oasis.
With
does
like
that
the
mean?
Manchester City
No
colors
clue.
there.
No clue what it
Our
means.
kid.
Our kid.
What's his
Like
name?
our kid.
Liam
His name's
Gallagher?
Liam. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense at all.
No.
I'm going to point that out to him.
I don't understand it either. I'm sure
Wow,
there's
you got a
reason
flag
for it.
though. You bought the flag.
Yeah,
Our
I
kid.
actually got that in Nebworth when I saw him in England, and people in line got a kick out of it. I was just draped in it the whole night.
Look at you.
Oh, yeah?
They're like, there's the guy with the R kid.
Awesome show though, but Brooklyn, it's big cities aren't my thing, man. It's just the older
Yeah.
I get, the more I come to terms with that.
That's the Fox News thing.
I like wide open spaces, man. Like the chicks, the Dixie Chicks. You know?
Hey,
Well,
we got
good.
Mike Schmuhl as a guest today.
Yeah, it's exciting. Can't beat
Indiana
leading off
Democratic
the.
chair?
Can't lead beating off the. Wait, whoa.
Whoa!
Hello.
Can't-
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome, happy
Jill's
birthday.
scratching
Well,
Tom's
well,
head. Kevin's beating off. I don't know
Whoa.
what's going
It's his
Can't
birthday.
beat
Leave him
leading
alone.
off the season with Mike Schmuhl, Democratic chair.
Hey, it's fine. I didn't do anything over break, so.
No travels.
No, you didn't even ask me, so
I
continue
was
with the next bit.
no.
You made
We
nut
were-
roll.
We were,
What are
we
you
were
talking
working
about?
Our way around.
You got a white deer.
Hold
Yeah.
on, hold on. This is a lie. I know this is a lie.
What?
I walk into Cafe Borgia. Jill's sitting there with a folder,
Oh, yeah.
looking at your possible next trip.
Possible.
Which one?
We might do Slovakia.
Oh, no way.
Oh,
Yeah.
Marissa and I are planning out a trip for Europe later in the year.
nice.
Yeah.
Look
But
at all these world travelers.
Poland?
yeah.
Going to Poland?
It ultimately ends up in Poland.
Nice.
But I like when I travel, I like going one place and flying one place and then flying home from another place. And then like
Moving around in the meantime.
transgressing between the two,
Mhm.
like finding your way between them. That to me is like exciting.
Well, the good thing about Europe is there's so many trains available, and
Mhm.
you can just train places.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing. And you could like go overnight, and just crash on the train and wake up the next day and you're somebody else or someplace else. And you're somebody else.
you
Just-
said,
if
whoa,
you're, like,
that's why you like
007.
it. I'm somebody else.
Hey, this
well,
is
this was a big deal,
Mhm.
actually.
Something Tom did.
Oh yeah, I'm a Hall of Famer.
HOF 24.
NBD.
Yeah. I have changed my signature. HOF. PNW. Real
So
small.
why don't you explain this photo?
That's me, and on my right. Well, first off, I'm holding the coolest trophy I've ever received,
That
which
is
is
awesome.
the line. I should have brought it in the studio. I will.
Oh,
I
yeah.
will.
You
I
got to
will.
bring that in.
It's in the office right now, but that's the PNW is Purdue Northwest, which is where I attended college when I got out of the Navy, and it propelled me to Notre Dame. But PNW is the pride, and so they give me a trophy of a lion, and it is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Super cool lion. It's very detailed. It's super heavy. I mean, that thing had to cost, I don't know, but it's
Who
definitely
knows?
not cheap. It's not $10. It's like that's a few hundred.
And
bucks.
this was the Purdue Northwest Alumni Hall of Fame
right
that you
right.
got inducted into.
Right.
Along
So
with-
that's on my left. On my left is Chancellor Halford, who is the new chancellor of Purdue. Great guy. Him and I are, working well together. Considering we just met each other, within the last 6 months. And on my right is Pat Obey, Dr. Pat Obey. Excuse me. He was my main professor. He's a finance. The director of finance. I don't know what his title
Total
is.
superstar.
Legend.
Superstar legend.
Oh, yeah.
Pat Obey's a stud. I love the guy. I went to China with Pat. He's a friend. He's a mentor. He was my favorite instructor. Period. Like I don't care where I went to school, Navy, Notre Dame. I don't care where I went to school. Pat Obey is the best instructor I've ever had to this day. And I know that there's many other people that will tell you the same thing about Pat. So Pat is actually the one that inducted me, which was special.
Yeah, he introduced you. And actually, interestingly enough, you got inducted with two other people.
Yeah.
Judge Cavendish Schneider, Diane Cavendish
I
Schneider.
practiced in front of.
Awesome.
You
Yeah,
practiced in front of
absolutely. Great judge.
Hundreds of times.
Awesome. And then also Jeff Strack.
Yeah, CEO of Strack Van Til.
Yep. And Pat Obey introduced Jeff, too.
And
you
by
guys
the way-
both chose Pat Obey.
All three, Pat Obey and
Yeah, it was
Jeff,
really
but all
interesting.
three of us know each other well.
Yeah.
I practiced in front of a judge. Jeff and I have known each other the entire time I've been mayor, so it's pretty cool getting inducted with two people you know really well.
Congratulations. It was a nice event. You gave a great heartfelt speech. Your family was all there.
I cried.
It happened.
Freaking bawled, man. No, I mean I was
You
trying
weren't
to keep. I
bawling.
was trying to keep it together, but
Well, it was emotional. And I think actually,
it meant a lot to me. I mean, I'm not bullshitting. I've received a lot of awards. That one means a lot to me. PNW Hall of Fame. Come on.
I think it
That's
just
that's big time.
I think it was interesting because you underscored kind of your story, and it kind of, I'm sure it I'm not saying it identically, totally is identical to other people's story, but when you are at a university like Purdue Northwest, which serves a lot of the community, right?
Right.
And you're just out of the Navy. You got 2 little kids.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on, but
I had a
you had to
full-time
get
job.
some. Yeah, and it totally. Not only did it serve you, it also propelled you, like you said.
Yeah. I went to night school, so sometimes when you go to night school, you get like second-rate instructors, second-rate education, and instead I had a guy like Dr. Obi. That's the difference between Purdue Northwest and other, so like, and Dr. Obi, he's travels the world, advising governments all over the world, So like, this guy was in Hammond, Indiana, right when I needed him, and he inducted me into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
he wrote a letter that was really nice. I know there was a lot of people, including Kevin Chandler, right here. I know Phil Taylor had a lot to do with it, but Pat Obi, when he puts his name on it, it certainly didn't hurt. So
Yeah, it was good. So congrats.
Thanks.
HOF 24, Tom McDermott.
That's right. Talk to me accordingly.
I saw
Address me
your-
accordingly. I'm a Hall of Famer, damn it.
Put
you
some
just start
respect on that
signing-
name.
God damn it. I'm a Hall of Famer. I didn't work my ass off for this. I had a rough week, though, but we're going to talk about that at the end of this segment.
Yeah, what else we got?
I don't know. I'm going through. But we do have Mike Schmuhl coming in, so we also have to keep in mind that Mike Schmuhl is a great guest. And
Yeah,
he's
it's
on
going to
the
be
season
awesome. By the
premiere
way,
in
here's
studio, by the way.
Season 11 was dominated by Mayor Tiff.
True.
We have a great update come Tuesday about something that I think
Not great for her.
Not great for Tiff. Not great for Mayor Tiff.
Not great for the residents of Dalton.
Yeah.
No,
But
well, maybe it is.
It was like predicted by
Sure.
Lockpod.
Yes, I was just going to say we previewed it. We
Like
said
when
I
Babe
want-
Ruth got into the batter's box against the Cubs and pointed to center field.
Allegedly.
That's what we did. That's what we did with this. We pointed to center field. They said we were pointing to Dalton from over here with our baseball bat. We were pointing to Dalton, saying that's where the feds are going to raid, right over there.
We said I think we said something along the lines of by the time we start season 12,
Yep.
Yeah.
we believe that Mayor Tiff may have some federal problems. And
But
looks
did it
like
happen?
There was a raid, but we're going to talk all about it on Tuesday. I got a copy of the subpoena, the grand jury subpoena.
Whoa.
That was
We did a lot of episodes on her, so we did want to acknowledge that happened while we were on break, and we do have a busy first show, so we don't have time to get into everything to update you all. But so on Tuesday, we're going to update you on that as well.
yes, that'll be a Tuesday. Episode 2, season 12.
Okay, so from here till break, we could go over what kicked my ass this week. And then when we come back after our break, we're going to have Mike Schmuhl in here. So stick with us. But let's talk a little bit about, it's not often I call IT and say we're doing a virtual mayor's night out in an hour and a half.
Kind of like a live, I don't want to call it a press conference. What would you call it, John? Like a live vlog or a live
Questioning,
Yeah.
statement. It was when I got the call, I immediately remembered the pandemic
Yep.
days. That's what it felt like.
That's exactly how I gave instructions. I was
Okay.
like, we're going pandemic mode. I was like, virtual mayor's night out. That's what I called it. But it's more like a virtual press
pandemic mode?
conference. Right?
Everyone put their masks on.
But the cool thing about this, Jill, is during the pandemic, we set up the council chamber to be like a TV studio.
That was your office.
Huh?
It was your conference room during pandemic.
Yeah.
But like the council chamber since then has
Since
been.
then.
Yes, you're right.
We've dumped tens of thousands of dollars, John.
Yeah, in order to make it electronically accessible, the meetings.
It's like a TV studio
Oh,
now.
it's top shelf.
It was part of your American Rescue Plan
Right.
dollars.
So, and we did that. The council obviously had a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that was their idea. And then so I called the council president and I was like, "Hey, I want to do this press conference about the schools." Scott knew exactly what I was talking about. I'm like,
Racos.
Councilman Racos, and then he's like, "Absolutely, you could use the studio." And
Nice. It was a good setup, John, and really
was
good
awesome.
audio.
really
Thank you.
great
Thank you.
setup.
Yeah, I think we pulled it off with an hour notice.
John's on his way to lunch.
Yeah, dude. So like we get on, Jill, and it starts off with like 300 people watching.
Like
which is-
right, like at the boom,
Right.
like sign on.
So the whole thing is about the school city, our school city, which I'm not part of. The school city made a decision to shut down 3 elementary schools, and this was expected. We've been talking about it, but when it hits, the community was pissed. And then instead of taking it out on the school city and the school board and directing their, the public directing their anger and frustration in that direction, they focused it right squarely at me and my staff. Like, what are you guys going to do about this? And just to remind you, I realize I'm the mayor, okay? And people think of mayors as like the all-powerful in their community, but where you have to have legal responsibility to have any power. I can't just like walk into the Hammond Public Library, which is run by another independent board, and say, "I'm the mayor, damn it! I want you to do it this way." It just
Burn
doesn't
these
work,
books.
right? It just doesn't work.
Right.
I'm not in charge of that. So like, just like I'm not in charge of the libraries in Hammond, I'm not in charge of the schools either. I have 0% input in it. So accordingly, over the last 20 years, I've sort of like, I have my area of responsibility. I focus on that, and I pay attention to what's going on in other parts, but I'm not in charge of it. So I've been monitoring what's going on in schools and with the school board, and I'm super concerned because it appears that things are completely broken over there, which is concerning because I'm the mayor, and it's like that's my education department, and they're just jacked up from the top to the bottom, to the left, to the right. Everybody is fighting, and there's no money.
And we've had Scott Miller on.
We've had Scott Miller on.
He's talked about the state of education in Indiana. He's talked about the challenges that urban school corporations face. And, part of the setup with in Indiana is when school corporations need more money, they have to go to the public.
And how long has that been a thing?
Recent.
I would say a dozen years, 10 years.
Not even. Yeah.
Well,
within the last 10 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Where we're funding through referendum.
Yeah. Right. Additional funding has
I bet
to be
you
for
less
referendum.
than 10 years. We've been funding by referendum because the state gives you a base level of education funds
per student.
Right. And then your community has to decide if it wants to add on top of that. So what happens is the wealthier parts of our state add on referendum after referendum, and their school districts become amazing, which draws even more away from the poorer parts. And unfortunately, what we're noticing in Indiana is the poorer communities that need education the most are rejecting referendums. So the answer in Indiana right now is if you're rich, you'll have a great school system, and if you're poor, fuck you. Too bad. Move to a rich area.
Yeah, your people didn't vote for it.
Right? Man, you live in Hammond or Gary? Oh, that's too bad. What you need to do is move to Valparaiso where we have great schools.
And remember, so this is kind of, along those lines, referendums do increase your taxes generally, right? There's an add-on on your taxes. So think about the impact of, let's just say, I don't even know if this is accurate, $200, okay, on somebody's taxes. If it's $200 in a person that lives in Carmel, versus, and where the average income is, I don't know, call it $100,000, versus in Hammond or Gary where the average income might be $40,000. $200 is a lot more to that family, or a lot more to that retired person who lives paycheck to paycheck or on their Social Security. And so there's more impetus for them to vote no when it hits their pocketbook versus somebody that lives in a more wealthy area where it's like, you know what? I care about education to the point where I just want to make it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt my pocketbook, so I'm voting yes.
Right.
And that's where we have these two systems of education now in Indiana, where you have richer communities that vote referendum after referendum after referendum, and urban communities where they're getting rejected,
right.
And then the schools are suffering. Fast forward to this week, then what happens?
Well, the school board makes a decision because they're short on money, and the referendum in Hammond was shot down. The school city made a decision to shut down 3 elementary schools, and people
in an effort to plug the hole.
Yeah. And by the way, I still think there's more cuts that need to come, but that's all they're going to do for this year.
But Tom, could you explain that 7 years ago, the referendum got voted up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, 7 years ago, they call it the operating referendum, and it could be used for operating funds, which is like funding teachers. So 7 years ago, the city of Hammond passed an operating referendum, and the superintendent and the school board hired a bunch of teachers with it.
When you say city of Hammond, you mean the residents, the voters.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they hired a bunch of teachers, and they filled the classrooms, and everything was good. Unfortunately, in Indiana, we have this stupid rule that says every 7 years, the voters have input on that referendum. So 7 years ago, we say yes, we hire a bunch of teachers, the teachers are working for 7 years, and then our referendum comes up again, and then the voters this time said no. So what happens? So the superintendent who hired a bunch of teachers 7 years ago, and they've been working for 7 years, the voters say no. So the school board and the superintendent let the teachers go because they don't have any money.
And shut down schools.
And people are like, what are you doing?
What just happened?
It's like you shot down a referendum. Yep. That's how we pay for people.
It was 70-30.
It wasn't even close, dude. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
So now people are like, they want my head? I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I had this sign in my yard. I was campaigning for it. I was talking about it.
Yeah.
People were mocking me.
Calling
me like a liberal.
Yeah.
And like, oh, big government Tom.
Just
like
increase taxes.
Right? Well, now, there you go. Right. This is what happens when you say, we don't want this money. We don't want to pay anymore. Well, then we have to adjust accordingly.
And everyone looks to somebody to bitch about.
Right.
So and they start bitching about Tom.
Yeah, those two mailbags in the notes.
Let's
literally
go.
blaming you.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Chairman Schmuhl's in the green room. I told him about 10 minutes.
Mailbag.
Okay. All right.
Love it, John.
People see what you could do. People see what you can do about the situation with the teachers in the School City of Hammond. think it's time for you to step in. I have no kids in school as there are 52 and 48 who graduated from Gavitt years ago. My taxes are way too high now compared to when they were in school. Never seen anything like this. Thank you. That wasn't so bad. The next one's bad. I thought you wanted to make Hammond a safe city for families. If so, then why this silence on school closures? Can't see why anybody with kids would want to move here with the school system and the empty buildings. I would like to know how you are financially benefiting with your silence. The kids need help, and you need to help them or get out of the way.
Get out.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, you're in the way.
I'm financially benefiting from my silence. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, and why would they think you want a safe city? You know what I mean?
Like,
What a bunch of dicks, dude. That is bullshit, man. This is why, and the guy's name is David. You know, screw you, David. Okay, seriously. Go fuck
You don't have
yourself.
his vote anyway.
I don't like this guy. David, screw you, David. Seriously, how am I financially? Why am I silent? I was silent because I'm not in charge of it.
Right.
Okay?
But you weren't silent.
I wasn't
That's
silent.
what
I
I'm
was out there
saying.
pushing, but like I'm not the boss of this. This is not my problem or responsibility. I wish it was, because if it was, we wouldn't be in this situation. I'll be honest with you.
And different
I'm not
city-
trying to be a dick. If we were in this situation, it'd be running like the city.
Different cities have more mayoral input. Like
Yeah.
Valparaiso.
We don't
Like,
in Hammond.
In Hammond, we don't.
So
All right, so
Is
let's
that right? Sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
was it
John.
what? Oh.
Yeah, East Chicago, Hammond, or I'm sorry, East Chicago, Valpo, Gary. Even now, after the mayor has much more input into who's on the board.
So
Okay.
has anyone filed any lawsuits like with the state? Because this seems discriminatory.
I'll
this
be honest with you,
referendum
Joe.
stuff.
I think that's a great question. It's more like a equitable, like, what's the word I'm looking for, Kevin? Like, if I'm a School City resident in Hammond versus a
Equal
School
protection
City
or-
resident in Valparaiso, right? And you compare these two kids. One kid is using Hoosier tax dollars and gets a completely different and superior education to another kid who's in
I
a
think you're
poorer
right. It's
city.
inequitable.
Right. It's like separate but equal kind of argument, sort of, right?
It's
like
interesting,
equal
but
protection.
I think they fall back on, look, we have a system set up where you get to vote. Your community gets to
But
decide.
what the
No, but
policy
the
results
system,
in.
but the system is inequitable.
Right. Because what happens is the wealthy get wealthier, so to speak. You know, the wealthy have the wealthier type of education, and then you have another public student in another part of the state who gets an inferior education comparatively. Why? Because, you know, you're not wealthy like we are. So
and you have more tax base, more tax dollars. So here's we have a couple clips of Tom during this.
stop yelling at us. That's a good one.
Let's do Stop Yelling at Us.
Yeah, because we can't do all of these.
All right.
Can you guys tell me? Okay.
Second
I got
one
it.
down.
I got it. Yep.
This morning I came to work and we had a number of angry phone calls waiting for me, and I personally heard my assistants getting yelled at by residents that were angry over our decision. What are you going to do, Mayor? What are you going to do to keep our schools open, Mayor? And that is beyond frustrating. To hear my staff get yelled at for something we have absolutely nothing to do with is frustrating for any mayor. To hear people cursing at us, threatening us, telling me I'm lining my pockets is absurd, stupid, and that's the kind of stuff that goes on in Washington, D.C. I don't want that going on in Hammond. So we need to educate ourselves. So I'm making myself available. I'm standing here. I want to thank the Hammond City Council for letting me use their chambers. I'm here. I'm going to answer questions on Facebook Live, and I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to tell you exactly what I know, exactly what I've heard.
Hey, John.
And you can't.
Could we do one more? Why I supported the referendum?
By the way, if anybody doubts that
That's
you
the
have
last
your
one.
filter on when you're on
Yeah.
professional and City Hall,
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
we know the difference between here where you just told
Where I
David
could
to
say
F
shit.
off,
Right.
and where you have to say stuff.
Right.
So
Stuff. Where that
Yeah.
stuff
It did have an
goes.
SH to it.
Stuff.
So I knew, Mayor Tom, you better support this referendum, because if not, DURAB is going to take over your school city. And we shot it down. We, the collective we, Hammond residents, stomped that thing into defeat. Don't be shocked. That was our choice. We made a decision. You can't come back and start bitching now because you don't like the
Whoop.
result. We voted it down 70-30, starving the school city of 7 years of funding. And you're shocked? You're shocked? What? We got to shut down schools now? Yes. Yes. That's why we had the referendum. That's why. So that we didn't have to shut down schools. But we said, screw off. Guess what? We're not the federal government. We don't get to start printing money and say everything's going to be fine. We have to shut it down. I'm not saying I had nothing to do with that decision. Okay? School board. But we shot it down. Us, the people watching right now, we shot it down. 70-30.
You were very
And they have to
animated
I was
at
pissed.
that point. Yeah, you're fired up.
Yeah.
But I think it's I appreciate it just looking at objectively as a resident that you're willing to go on a live situation and basically just tell it like it is. You didn't have a script.
Nope.
That was just all Tom McDermott off the cuff, answering questions that were on Facebook Live and kind of telling it like it is. And I think it's important for people to hear that.
Well, and honestly, it should be someone from the school board or the superintendent doing that too, not just you.
Agree.
Because they're not putting out any kind of information.
But like it's like a mob mentality right now.
Who are we going to blame? Let's
Yeah.
point the finger at the mayor.
But like, well, yeah. I mean, but like, and I'm not even responsible.
Right.
So I'm like, screw you guys.
Well,
like,
and-
you can't yell at me because I'm not responsible. But like, can you imagine if Scott Miller did the same thing? We had 810 people at one point watching that live.
Yeah.
Right. And that's way more than watches Lockpod. And Lockpod's pretty good. Okay. So like, if Scott Miller would have done that, he'd have 5,000 probably watching him, and it would be different because they would be like,
it'd be like red meat.
yeah, stupid shit. They'd be like accusing him of stuff that's
Right.
not true. It's ridiculous.
So what do you say? So like I saw like a bunch of like kind of BS comments, and I know we got to roll because we got Mike Schmuhl in the green room. But just real quick, I want you to just answer this question. What do you say to people who are saying like, you keep saying it's not your responsibility, you keep saying you have nothing to do with it? Like, why is that an important message versus like you shirking responsibility of some?
If it was my responsibility, I would take responsibility for it, and like I would be all in on this project. I barely know the facts of this case, the detailed facts. I know what the public knows, but I'm not in the meetings talking about how much enrollment's at each school, talking about the money. I'm not part of that. I
Or
have
making
no
any
idea.
decisions.
Of course I'm concerned when schools are shut down, but I also understand that if they don't follow what DUAB is telling them, that the state is going to take over our schools in Hammond. Okay? So they're trying to avoid that. So, but the public doesn't appreciate that. And
they didn't appreciate it when the referendum was being
that's
run.
why we all supported the referendum.
Right.
This is exactly why we supported the referendum. So this day wouldn't come. And we shot down the referendum. The day is here. And now people are calling for my head. Are you freaking high? Like, are you high? I did exactly what I was supposed to do. You're the one that failed. And by the way, if you really want to get technical, we'll bust out Van. And when people are bitching at me, I'm going to say, tell me your name and address. And I'm going to type their name into Van. And I'm going to say, you didn't even fucking vote. You didn't even vote. And I guarantee you 90% of the shit I'm taking and 90% of the shit Scott's taking and the school board's taking comes from people that didn't even bother to fucking vote in
I
that
agree
race.
with that.
I'll
I was thinking
guarantee
the
you.
same thing.
I'll guarantee you. They didn't even vote. And then they're bitching loudest. I guarantee you. So like
What just happened?
if in fact, you should probably think about that when you're going to start complaining. We have access to Van. I could tell if you voted. I don't know which way you voted, but I could tell if you didn't vote. And if you didn't vote, you didn't help.
Yep.
So shut the heck up. If you didn't vote, you're the problem. I hate to point it. You are
Every
the problem.
election when you don't vote.
It's not Scott Miller. It's a problem if you didn't vote. It's not the school board problem if you didn't vote. It's you're the problem because you're not even plugged into your community enough to vote on a referendum.
On something that impacts your community to the point of people losing their jobs and closing down schools where kids are educated, and now they're going to have bigger classrooms, less teachers, on and on and on.
You know, I'm not sure I'll ever run for office again, to be honest with you. And the way I'm approaching, I got 3.5 years left. I'm just going to be honest, man, because people are like, all these politicians, and I am one, are so worried about like offending people. I'm just going to stop worrying about that. I'm going to talk to people the way they deserve to be talked. If they're dicks to me, I'm going to be a dick back to them.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Well, one of the
Like,
things,
what am I going to do? Lose? I'm running for mayor because I'm a dick to Joe Blow, who's a dick to me? No, I don't
It's
care.
interesting you said that. John and I were talking. I know you got to go get Mike. We were talking about that pre-show, and it's a question I want to have ask Mike about how the Democratic Party is addressing the issue of Israel versus Palestine, because it's like we're dancing on a tight wire. So
We're falling off that time.
Yep. All right, so
I'm going to go get our guest.
why don't you read our first ad? Because
Sure.
I know that our studio sponsor loves to hear you read that ad.
Sure, I'll do it.
And then we'll go from there. And Jill and I
Then
will
I'm going
take
to
the
step
rest.
out of the studio. I'm going to grab our guest, Mike Schmuhl, who's the chairman of the Indiana Democratic Party. He's also the former chairman of Pete for America. He was
Yes.
the CEO,
Campaign manager
of Pete for America when Pete Buttigieg ran for president of the United States. So this is a great guest on Lockpod coming up. Power in Indiana, Lake County is your source for the region's most trusted electricians. Thinking of finishing your basement, installing outdoor security cameras, or does your business have plans to break ground on a new project? Don't leave important projects in the wrong hands. With IBEW Local 697 electricians, you're choosing the highest level of safety and reliability. Visit powerindiana.org today and to ensure your project is in the hands of skilled professionals who deliver on time and on budget. Find your electrical contractor at powerindiana.org.
You know it's springtime when the bug guy's back on Lock Pod. The bug guy pest control. Are spiders spinning, flies buzzing, ants dancing, pests stirring, ticks ticking, fleas fleeing, centipedes creeping, pests pestering?
Jesus,
Are bugs
is this a
bugging?
Dr. Seuss thing?
Yeah, it does sound like a Dr.
Uh-huh.
Seuss. Give the bug guy a call today to evict these unwanted guests. Call 219-810-7481 or contact the bug guy on Facebook.
I just messaged him yesterday.
I need my annual as well, so I hope he's coming over to my house too.
Good Lord, this next one's an entire page.
Thanks, Steve. New sponsor though.
Thanks, Steve.
Nice. What do we got here?
Bam!
Bam.
Body and Mind Dispensary. Our newest sponsor would like to welcome you to the ultimate cannabis destination, BAM, nestled in Markham, Illinois, where your marijuana needs meet their match.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Here at Body and Mind Dispensary, our name isn't just a label, it's our green-fueled mission. Since 2016, we've been cultivating a legacy as a multi-state operator, starting with our legendary cannabis strains and branching out into a galaxy of innovative oils, tantalizing edibles, and potent concentrates, all designed to harmonize your mind and body. Get fucked up, basically.
I think that just got me high reading that.
Step into the world of
What a world.
We're not done yet.
What in the world?
What? They said, "What a world."
Yeah, that too.
Step into our world of green delights by visiting us at www.bodyandmind.com. Explore a diverse array of products and discover our multiple locations, because when it comes to cannabis, we've got your back, body, and mind covered. Bam!
Whoa.
We might have to trim that down.
I think we're
Jesus.
gonna.
I
trim
got
that
the
down.
idea in the first 3 sentences.
Yeah, get high and Markham. Prestomer
Sounds about
Insurance
right.
Company. For decades, Ron J. Prestomer Insurance Agency has been your trusted neighbor right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. They specialize in a wide range of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, and life insurance. Prestomer Agency serves over 1,000 people and businesses throughout Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie today at 219-844-0103. They're here to protect what matters most to you.
We know you've missed this one. Tortillas Nuevo Leon sets the gold standard in Mexican cuisine across the Midwest. Look for our iconic red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón.
MCR Partners is your one-stop destination for top-notch expertise in economic development, finance, and planning. Dive into the world of economic development with MCR Partners and let them guide you through the maze of opportunities. Stay in the loop and connected by hitting up their website at mcrpartnersllc.com, or for tailored assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to our favorite economic development guru, Matt Reardon, at 219-741-9511.
Unless you're English.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and outdoor patio, serving its award-winning craft beer, a chef-driven food menu, and craft cocktails on draft. Their brewing equipment and production facility offer a unique backdrop for private events like bridal showers, reunions, or corporate parties. With their new food truck, they can cater to your corporate and private events off-site. Customer service is our top priority at Byway Brewing, just off 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Discover more at bywaybrewing.beer.
Kuklakis Law. Are you facing legal challenges and don't know where to turn? Look no further than Kuklakis Law, your trusted source for legal advice in Indiana and Illinois. Do you need help buying or selling real estate? Call Kuklakis Law. Forming a new business? Call Kuklakis Law. Injured in a car crash or at work? Call Kuklakis Law. No matter what your legal issue is, call Kuklakis Law at 219-671-6347 to schedule your free consultation. Who are you going to call? Kuklakis Law. That's you. Hablamos Español.
Rogers Roofing. When you want the best for your home and family, trust the best in the business. Rogers Roofing. Rogers Roofing has transformed homes in Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland for more than 54 years, providing quality roofing, siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the best warranties in the industry. To learn more or to schedule your free consultation, visit Rogers Roofing or call 219-933-9145 today. That's Rogers Roofing or 933-9145. And remember, at Rogers Roofing, excellence is expected every time.
Misprint Printing. Elevate your brand with Misprint, the premier printing and sign solution in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. With a 30-year legacy of excellence, their experienced team, led by Rick Baltonsberger, combines innovation and technology to deliver top-quality signs and printing and metal business cards, always on time within budget. Conveniently located in Munster and Hammond, Misprint is your partner for creating impactful visual solutions. Visit them at misprintusa.com to bring your vision to life today.
Calumet Brewing. Michelob Ultra is a superior light beer brewed for those who understand it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Containing only 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, Michelob Ultra is a light lager brewed with the perfect balance of hops and wholesome grains, which produce a light citric aroma and a crisp, refreshing finish. Woo! With a great Michelob Ultra partners like Lionel Messi, and Epic. I'm not a soccer fan. And Epic events coming up this summer, including the Festival of Lakes, the PGA Tour, Team USA Soccer, and the 2024 Olympics. There's no better time to crack open a cold one. Head over to Calbrew or Michelob Ultra websites and social media pages for info on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Michelob Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly.
Good Lord,
Thank you to our
these are
sponsors.
wordy.
Yeah,
We did them all.
Season 12, episode 1. The ads will be cut down significantly.
We're
by,
only
by
reading them
episode
once this
2.
season.
Yeah,
That was it.
That's right.
We're
We
done.
sold out officially, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like
It's
our
official.
ads are longer than the show now.
We should
Yeah.
charge them per word.
And now we have 2 minutes
It's like
for
the
Mike
Super
Schmuhl.
Bowl. Yeah.
Morning, Mike.
Wow, I took notes. I have all my shopping ready.
Thank
I know
you.
where to
I'm
go.
glad. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome
Thank
back,
you. How are
Mr.
you guys?
Chairman.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Mr. Chairman. We're
Mr.
Great.
Chairman.
It's good to see you, man. Thank you.
It's
for
great to
everything.
be here.
Support
this
our-
fancy office.
Oh, thank
you.
Thanks for
God.
coming in.
Look at
New
it. I got
studio.
Coffee.
Look
and
at that.
water
You're
and
promoting the firm
yeah,
right there.
Speaking of sponsors,
Yeah, right.
I like
Yeah,
that.
right.
Keep bringing that in.
That is a good idea, right?
Yeah.
This Mr. Cups,
Yes.
just subtly putting your stuff in
Thank
there.
you. Thank you, Teresa.
That is good stuff. I like it.
It's all good.
cheers.
Yeah.
Good
Cheers,
morning,
thank you.
guys.
Yeah, did you know Lockpod bought this building and then Kevin rents it from Lockpod? Yeah, we're doing really. That's why we have to do all these damn ads, man.
That's how you're lining your pockets.
Yeah,
We're into real
Pod
estate
HQ.
now.
Yeah.
it's this
Yeah.
Lockpod headquarters. Yeah.
Welcome, though. It's good to
Thank
see you.
you.
I haven't seen you in a
Good to
bit, so
see
it's
you.
really good to see
I
you.
know it's good to see you, Kevin.
How are things?
Yeah, that's right. Mike and I had lunch last month, but
Yeah.
you couldn't make it.
No,
probably.
that's right.
Yeah.
How are things?
Things
And
are good.
How are things in the party? How are things with Mike Schmuhl?
Things are good. I'm good.
You look
I
the
mean,
same, man.
You think so?
Totally.
Well,
Like,
the
I've
other
known you a
day,
long time.
my wife, like last weekend, obviously I have a red beard. I'm pretty ginger.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Hey, come here for a second." She
Uh-oh.
does tweezers and starts to pluck all the
Ooh.
gray hairs.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And,
that's why
you
you
know,
look so fresh.
A couple years ago, it used to be just like one or two.
Dude, just
I mean,
let it
now
roll.
this job.
Well, she used to say, "Come over here and give you a kiss." Now it's "Come
Right,
over here, let me
yeah,
just,
now
you
it's
know."
like,
get it.
Marissa does that for my ear
Chairman.
hairs.
Oh, okay. That's romantic. That's 25 years right there.
Yeah, right. That's I don't ear hair. I never had ear hair, but now I'm old.
You're
so,
old, man.
Yeah.
Well, your ears are burning from all the school stuff.
You got to
there
see that in the
go.
green room.
There
He's
you
pretty
go.
fired
I
up,
did.
right?
Sheesh. I mean, I dealt with that with Pete a lot.
Yeah.
In South
He's
Bend.
mayor, yeah, because
Yeah.
the mayor of South Bend doesn't have any purview over the schools.
Same thing.
Same.
But you get a lot of the heat for it, and you
It-
got to talk
because you're the
about it.
mayor, right?
Yeah,
And everybody
right.
pictures the mayor. You're like the president. It's like, wait a
Right.
second, you can't do anything about this,
Right.
But you're not the
Exactly.
president. Like, if
Exactly.
you were the president, you probably could, but a mayor,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
You were chief of staff for Pete when he was
Yes,
mayor.
I was his first.
That's
chief of
when you and I
staff.
first met.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
Probably.
That's when I met you as well.
La Peep.
Yeah. Yeah.
2011.
Yeah, La Peep.
Yeah.
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 Valpo?
La Peep.
No, La
Oh,
Peep
the Peep in
In
Indy.
Indy.
in Indy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
right. We
Big
all went out
breakfast
because
spot.
Pete first got elected, and Mike and Pete and Kevin and I
Yeah.
had breakfast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
decades ago.
That's a long time ago. Little did we know.
So, we talked a little, just because we're still talking about schools a little bit, and,
Yeah.
and I know you have experience because, like you mentioned, you were, Pete's chief of staff and also just as Democratic chair of the state. This idea about referendums and how they impact urban communities differently than they do suburban communities. I mean, do you hear that when you go around the state? And is it
Hugely so. I mean, I think I was talking with Tom just a minute ago, and I see Tom's in the paper today talking about it. It's a huge issue in Indiana, and I think that for decades Republicans haven't funded our schools or our teachers to the extent that they should. Our candidate for governor is, as Tom knows, and Kevin, Jennifer McCormick. She's the last elected superintendent
Yeah,
of
that's a good
public
point.
instruction.
Yeah,
They abolished that position after she got in there.
I know.
So she's the last one who served. She saw the supermajority and the damage that it can do up close, and now she's running under our banner for governor. And so, I think she has a real
She's a great
opportunity
lady. She's
to
a smart lady. She knows. She knows the supermajority. She knows what's going on with education.
Yeah.
I was going to say education's a big topic.
And I think she
right now.
Yeah.
And the other thing is a good friend of ours, Ambassador Joe Donnelly. He won in 2012 for U.S. Senate. But Glenda Ritz won in 2012.
That's right.
That's
for
right.
Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Same year.
And that was a backlash to Tony Bennett.
That's right.
Because of all of the bad policies that he had pushed.
That's right.
So I think that we don't talk about it as much. But every county, all 92 counties in Indiana, have a similar experience with public education. That it still is the backbone in a lot of these rural communities.
And you feel like it's under attack.
And it's kind of,
I think it is under attack.
It's under attack, or it's not mentioned, or things happen and people don't feel like they have any say in it.
It's so weird because, in some of the things, ways it's under attack, tax caps. I think most people view the tax caps as positive, but it is having an effect on this debate right now.
Yeah.
Vouchers, that's debatable in the state of Indiana, but I could tell you, Mike, in Hammond, there's a lot of blue-collar families using vouchers and going to private school.
Right.
And that they've saved parochial schools. I can say that. In the city of Hammond, they have saved St. Casimir and St. John Bosco
We
from
could have
going
lost
under.
Bishop Knoll if they don't have vouchers. We could have lost Bishop Knoll, and that's a 100-and-something-year-old high school.
Right. So that's a more nuanced discussion.
Very much
Because we
so.
see, for example, in Hammond, right, you have public schools now that are closing. Yet you have parochial schools that are thriving. So,
that's weird.
Yeah.
It's a hard dynamic. I mean, I'm a product of parochial schools because, where Notre Dame is, South Bend. I mean, huge Catholic grade schools.
Yep.
And then 2 large Catholic high schools, St. Joe, where I went. And so it's a huge part of the fabric of the community.
And it has been, and it survived. And by the way, it existed with public schools just fine.
Right.
When public schools were getting funded like they
Properly.
should be.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, parochial and private and public schools all survived for hundreds of years.
Right.
Until they're not funded.
And I think at the end of the day, where I land is, what I worry about is the Republicans are so good at dividing things and putting people on separate tracks and breaking things, that what we need to realize that all public schools need to be doing better. Parochial schools need to be doing better. And if everybody's doing better, then all the kids in Indiana are doing better.
I agree.
And they have a good future.
See, Mike,
but it has to be a balancing playing field, charters included.
Yeah.
More oversight, but a good school if a kid wants to go to it.
Mike is from South Bend, and I think South Bend is like an extension of the region. I lived there for 3 years, and I felt like at home in South Bend because of the issues in South Bend and that whole area around South Bend is so much. Even Mishawaka
Just looks like Hammond a bit.
It feels like the region.
Old neighborhoods.
Same types of neighbors, same types of issues. And I love South Bend. I miss it so much. And interesting story about Mike. He's talking about high school, and when he went to high school, one of his classmates, Pete Buttigieg, of course, right?
A year older than me, but
Okay,
yes.
but
yes.
still,
and,
another one.
And James Mueller.
James
the current,
Mueller,
the
the
current
mayor.
mayor.
Man,
They were
you're
all
just
in
like
the class
making mayors
together.
there.
They were like making mayors and presidential candidates and chairmen. It's like,
secretaries
what
of
school is this again? I'm
transportation.
moving, man.
Yeah, I was at a fundraiser for James Mueller. This is a while ago now, and somebody was like, well, if you're elected mayor, what will you do next? And I go, he'll probably run for president.
See that?
I love James. I haven't seen James since I ran.
He's great.
I
He's
know.
doing
a good job.
He's doing a
He's
great
healthy.
job.
He's back.
Yes.
That's just good.
Yes. He's healthy. He's back.
And
He's
his
doing
wife's
well.
name is
Kelly.
You went to school with her
The
also.
first lady, Kelly.
Kelly is a darling.
Yeah, Kelly
She's a
Mitros.
sweetheart. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
she's fantastic.
She is
Yep.
very. It's funny because James is sort of like reserved mayor, right? He's like, for being a mayor, I think he's very like conservative. He's Democrat, but like he's really reserved, right? And Kelly is just really sort of the opposite.
Yeah.
She's very like outgoing and very
Opposites
sweet.
attract,
and
man.
no, but like
Yeah.
they're a great couple.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's just opposite, in that regard.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So one of the things that we're hearing a lot about up here, and it's weird because we don't hear a lot of, as you mentioned, Jennifer McCormick is unopposed, right? So, but on the GOP side,
Right.
all we're hearing is, this was supposed to be this great primary, and it was going to be tight, and everybody had all this money, and it's going to be insane. And now, I'll tell you, I have not seen any sign in Lake County besides a Mike Braun sign. Like, I don't see
I agree
Suzanne
with
Crouch. I don't
I agree
see,
with you, bud.
you know,
I was thinking the same thing driving in today.
yeah,
Going through Munster, it's all
right.
Braun.
It's almost like they're just like, oh, Mike Braun's going to win. He's going
Right.
to, he's going to probably be our next governor if everything goes how it usually goes.
Yeah.
But what's your handicap? Is that what you're hearing too?
Well, I think he has 3 things that are huge for his advantage. Number 1, he has almost universal name ID because he's a U.S. senator. Number 2, he's got a lot of money and resources to spread his message. And
He can
number
self-fund
3,
and
number 3, in a crowded primary, he has Donald Trump's endorsement.
Yep.
And
In
when
Indiana.
when you split up the vote that much, That's really powerful. Now, if it was a one-on-one kind of dynamic with Braun and then somebody else, it might be a different story.
In a crowded race.
Yeah, but the other thing that kind of bugs me with the ads is all of them are just like, I'm a political outsider.
Yeah.
And then I
U.S.
watch,
senator.
and I watch the ad and I go, you're a United States senator. and then Suzanne Crouch, you're the lieutenant governor. And then Brad Chambers, even him.
Yeah.
You were the Secretary of Commerce,
Right.
head of the
Right.
IEDC.
I know.
These are the most insidery people possible. And they're just like, well, we need an outsider to fight for you. And the other thing I'll say is
say anything.
Braun, it's almost like he's running, if you could run, for like UN ambassador. Because all of his ads are about foreign countries. It's not about Indiana.
Right. Like, what are you going to do about Indiana?
It's not about
Let's
Indiana.
talk about Ukraine.
It's like, I went to Mexico and we got to fight China. And I'm like, he should join the Navy. Tom. I mean, like, if he cares that much about this stuff, like, give me a freaking break. Even Mitch Daniels, obviously, we can talk a lot about Mitch Daniels. Even Mitch Daniels is like, these people aren't talking about what the
Right.
governor of Indiana does.
Think about what that.
I agree with
think
you.
about what that said. That speaks volumes to me.
Yeah.
Well,
You know,
Mitch is a real
like,
person.
well, he-
you know,
I-
regardless how you feel about his politics, like look what he did at Purdue.
Well, what
man.
I would say about Mitch Daniels is he focused on Indiana as
Yes,
governor.
yes.
Like his policies or
Totally
don't.
right.
And there were some things like the tax caps and stuff like that. I mean,
Right.
he's a fiscal conservative.
Yes.
And that's
Right.
his whole. He's
Right.
about balancing
Like
the
a
budget.
Reagan
and-
Republican.
yeah, exactly. And
Right.
so, like him or hate him, he focused on Indiana. That's all he did. In fact,
Right.
he was all about like, we're not dealing with social issues.
Yep.
We're
Right.
focusing on the money here. You know, and now
And-
we've got all this like you said, it's gone the polar opposite where it's like, let's talk about Mexico
Right.
and Ukraine and China.
Right. And I also think you mentioned being like fiscally conservative. I think about this a lot over the last couple of weeks is the Republican Party when I was growing up and in Indiana used to be local control, fiscal responsibility, freedom, and patriotism. Okay, let's go through those four very quickly. You can't be the party of local control if you're trying to play in everybody's little sandbox.
Backyard. They're
taking over
You're
every
trying
school
to be city
district.
councils
City
for
councils, yes.
everybody,
Right.
Indianapolis included, the Blue Line,
Without a doubt.
transportation. You can't be the party of fiscal conservatism if you lose $1 billion in Medicaid funding. Oh yeah, oops, we
Unlike
lost that money.
or like they don't want to take federal money.
Right.
Who doesn't take
Right.
federal money?
Right.
Like on a oh no, we're standing up here.
Right. We want to use
And-
Hoosier money, not
Yeah.
your free federal money.
And you can't be the party of freedom, personal freedom, if you take away a woman's right to choose.
Yeah.
And you can't be the party of patriotism. Just frickin' last week, half the Republican caucus voted against Ukraine funding.
Think
Yeah.
about that.
You
I know.
know, sided with Russia and
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin.
Mike,
mean,
when I was
Those are
in the
great
Navy,
points.
floors me.
I just hope it echoes with
So
Hoosier
we're
voters.
the party. We're actually the party of all
Patriot-
those things.
yeah.
I
now,
agree with you, man.
You know,
I agree.
across the board.
It's,
And,
that's a really good speech you just gave. I really like that.
We're gonna
no,
clip that.
seriously.
We're gonna clip
no,
that.
I like that whole thing. It's really
John?
good. John?
Yeah. And I just want to add one more thing to that. They're raising the gas tax again, the Indiana gas sales
Yeah,
tax.
John likes to rip Indiana. I mean,
Oh,
as,
dude,
as a conservative. Whoa, sorry.
Don't
Be
take this
careful.
the wrong way. They're worse than Democrats, the Indiana Republicans.
Coming from a Republican, so
Dude, it's
and
great.
John. I mean, John's all over that, right? He says all the time they're not fiscal conservatives
Oh
in Indiana.
my God, it's so bad.
But that sort of
So
feeds in.
bad.
John sort of feeds into my. I think I have a theory that there's a bunch of Republicans like my father that sort of are like, "What the hell happened to my party?"
Yeah.
You know, and maybe even like Mitch Daniels or even
Right.
Governor Holcomb, right?
Right.
That are like, "What the hell happened to my party?"
Reagan, Bush.
Yeah, and I think there's Democrats that feel the same way,
Yeah.
and it's just like a weird time in politics where everybody's just sort of like,
Yeah.
like you're seeing
Oh,
it in
yeah.
Congress.
Yeah.
Like half the Democrats voted for the funding bill with
Yeah.
the Republicans to get it through.
Yeah.
Just
And
a
then every
weird
time a speaker does anything that even hints to be
You're out.
with the Democrats, you're out because
Right.
three people can,
Right.
One
can
per-
bring
yeah.
it. Marjorie
outta
Taylor
here.
Greene.
Motion to vacate.
it's so ridiculous.
And you mentioned Mike Braun. I mean, I tell people this when I travel around our state and I don't think folks kind of put it all together until we talk about it like this, but it's very likely that in November, their ballot is the following: Donald Trump, Mike Braun, Jim Banks, and Todd Rokita.
I agree. With
I
you.
didn't even think about
I
that. I
agree.
mean, I didn't think about it at all as
Craziness.
one.
Craziness.
I call it the MAGA starting lineup.
Dude.
Because it is so
Who's bad
I'll
for
tell you,
cleanup?
Mike.
nuts.
And Mike, I don't even think you're not being scary by saying that. I think you just
People
mentioned
need to know that.
they're literally the favorites in every
Yes.
race. What you said.
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying they're
yeah.
favorites against Democrats. They're the favorites in the primary. right?
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's probably the lineup our
absolutely.
Democrats are going to face.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that in November. I'm saying that's who they're going to be up against.
So you
most
got Mike
likely.
Braun, who didn't like his job in the U.S. Senate, so he's just like, oh, I'll be governor.
Voted
Well,
against Ukraine.
That's very inspiring.
Right, exactly.
And then you got Jim Banks, who's just a total Trump sycophant.
Yeah.
You know, he's obsessed with Donald Trump.
Acolyte.
And then you got Todd Rokita, who, you know, his
We've already
biggest
seen that.
his biggest accomplishment is not even persecuting a doctor in Indiana.
Yeah.
It's awful.
And
It
he's
is
a-
awful, Mike.
He's another Trump sycophant. I mean,
Yeah.
he went down to the border.
I love the poorly educated.
There it is. Rokita.
Nothing Donald Trump
He's from
ever
the
said
region,
true.
isn't he?
He's
from the
yeah,
region.
right here
From
in Munster.
Munster.
Yes,
Oh.
Munster High. Yes,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
he does. I think
We don't take credit for
He hasn't
that.
been
No.
on Mock Pod?
No.
He's been on Lockpot a lot.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
yeah.
He has
I
been
think
on
he's
Lock-
one of our most common, frequently.
We've even
talked
showed off
about-
his Hummer
Yeah,
with his
yeah.
great license plate
and his instructions to his drivers. I love that one. You know,
Oh.
You think like
Oh, yeah, that
Braun
was
would
good.
come on or Rokita?
No.
no,
they
never?
wouldn't trust us.
Well, not only that, they'd be accused of
Yeah,
being friendly. They laughed on Lockpod with the Democrats.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah,
the
it's
woke. You're in the woke.
Yeah.
the woke pod.
The woke. If that'd be
Let's put that on the wall. We are the woke pod. Woke pod.
Midwest's most
That's an
dangerous
awesome
woke
name.
pod.
Like we're starting a new pod. It's called Woke Pod.
A spinoff.
So, one of the things that's been going around the state, I know we've talked about this, and I think it was last season when Mayor Henry passed away suddenly,
Yeah.
right? We knew he was sick, but he passed away. And when they had the caucus, another African-American woman is
Yeah.
now at the helm of an Indiana city.
Yeah.
Right. So you've
That's
got
amazing.
if you've got Stephanie Terry in Evansville, you've got Angie Nelson Deutsch in Michigan City, and then now you've got Sharon Tucker in Fort Wayne,
Deb
And
Winfield.
and Deb Winfield in Lawrence.
In Lawrence.
Thank you.
Yeah. All historic first, every single one,
Yeah, man.
which is amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's huge.
Before this year, was the only African American woman mayor Karen Freeman at that point in Indiana's history?
Good question.
I think it was. I mean, where else would they elect an African woman mayor other than a Democratic city?
Other
So-
than Gary?
It would be like South Bend, but we know that didn't happen because
Evansville
Right.
was
Or-
not. She was the
No.
first. She was the
No,
first
for
in
sure in
Michigan City,
Evansville.
first in
first
Fort
in
Wayne.
Fort Wayne.
Yeah,
Michigan
interesting.
City.
Well, if
I think
anybody knows
Karen
that.
was the only
Evansville, for
woman
sure.
African American mayor up until this year.
I mean, there's a great picture from last November when Stephanie Terry was elected mayor in Evansville, third largest city in Indiana. Fort Wayne being the second, obviously.
Right.
And it's Stephanie Terry looking at all the pictures of the previous mayors.
That's
and,
awesome.
And 100 years ago, I don't know if you guys have read the book Fever,
Yeah.
Fever in the Heartland.
Oh, yeah.
I love that book.
Great book.
It's,
Scary
it was
book.
stunning.
Very scary.
It
It made me
Indiana.
feel better about what I tried to do in Indiana after reading that book. I'm
Yeah.
like, what I was really trying to change history.
Yeah.
I mean, there's deep in our DNA.
Right.
There's
Right.
there's some hatred in this state.
Right. And so
Not that long ago.
The caption was sort of like 100 years ago. This was the place where they had their first foothold, the KKK.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And 100 years later, Stephanie Terry's elected mayor.
Yeah,
which is
it's interesting.
Let's repeat that
Fantastic.
book name. It's
Yeah.
called Fever in the Heartland.
Timothy Egan.
Yeah,
It's
have to read it. It's a must
stunning.
read.
Did you read The Immortal Irishman? He wrote
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I knew you did.
Thomas
That's
Francis
why-
Marr.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's right, baby. That's right. I knew it.
I
But
mean, look at me. I'm like a leprechaun.
You
that's
are.
why I asked you, man.
Yeah. I mean, your wife makes sure of it.
By the way, if you went to Notre Dame, you know damn well you would have ended up on the field, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did play football at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Dorm football.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But no, it is a
Hold
great.
it, you were at Notre Dame. What am I freaking
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah, yeah,
I'm sorry. You never tried out for the Leprechaun?
I think you have to do a backflip.
You got to do some
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm not
figuring
going
it
to
out.
try.
Some
I'm
stuff.
not going to try today.
I'm sorry.
Good idea.
I've totally. What am I thinking? I'm like, yeah.
He and Pete
I
both.
know where he went to
Yes.
school. Like, yeah.
But no, that is a great book. Just getting back to that, and there is
Fever in the
a
Heartland.
big thing about Evansville in it. A huge, huge.
But
part
not
of-
just Evansville. Like
Hammond.
Hammond plays
Yes.
a prominent role in it. Indianapolis plays a prominent role in
Yeah,
it.
the
All
whole city.
cities. Columbus,
Kokomo.
Kokomo.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing.
Indiana-
That
I mean,
book,
the
like
spread
I was
of-
just like with my mouth open reading
Yes,
it.
me too. And
Like,
you read it, you're like, how is this
Notre
even
Dame.
possible?
Speaking of Notre Dame, that was probably one of their biggest, if you can call it a defeat. The Notre Dame students marched
Fighting Irish,
downtown
right?
and confronted the Klan, and the Klan had to leave town.
Because the
Yeah.
Notre Dame students were kicking their ass.
I love it.
Because
Yeah.
the Klan didn't want their
Well,
their
they were
their
anti-Catholic
hood-
too, by the
But
way.
they didn't want their hoods to fall off.
They tried to buy Valpo.
Yes, think about that. Valparaiso University tried to buy it.
Almost bought
Almost got it.
Jeez.
I mean, John,
Isn't that
this is a
crazy?
must read.
It's
You
Jill,
gotta read it.
have you read it,
Sounds
Jill?
incredible.
No,
Jill's-
give me your copy.
I will. I'll bring it in. It's
Yeah.
by the way, Marissa told me she's going to read it. And it's on her stand waiting to be read. This is
I,
like a year
I
and a
gave it
half
to my
ago.
mom to read, and she about a week later, she goes, Kevin, I had to stop reading this. It's too upsetting to me.
It is
She
upsetting.
gave it back
Oh, wow.
to me.
It's
she
like
wouldn't
a-
read it. She
There you
stopped.
It's intense.
But so shifting gears, Sharon Tucker is the new mayor of Fort Wayne.
Yes.
She was elected last Saturday.
Former councilwoman?
Yep, councilwoman in a 6th district, and she was on the county council before that. So yeah, she becomes and speaking, Tom, you said you 3.5 years in your term. I mean, she basically has almost a full term because of the unfortunate passing of our good friend Tom. But yeah, she has 3.5 years to build up her brand and work on projects in the city.
And build up a war chest because they'll be coming at her in 3.
Absolutely.
And she knows that.
Oh, yeah.
She's not making any bones about it.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
she was just sworn in
she's on the
2
front
days
line
ago. Yeah.
over there. I mean, Fort Wayne is literally, like, Tom Henry is amazing because of what he did in a city that's not inclined to vote Democrat all the time, right?
Right.
I mean, it's a tough part of town, and Tom Henry is 5-termer.
Yeah, he was just elected to his 5th term.
Right.
I don't want to let you leave the studio before asking you some national stuff because I know you touch base with Pete every once in a while.
Yep.
Tell like when you and Pete are talking, or just give me some idea on like what you think nationally. We're getting ready for this huge election in November, right? We got Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who are the 2 oldest guys ever to run for president, right?
Yep.
Besides the last time they ran, which they were next in line as the oldest people running for president. So
Right.
how do you handicap it right now? How do you tell Democrats that are listening to this podcast why Joe Biden's our guy, even though people say he's too old to be president?
Right. I think this is interesting. Just last week we were in Chicago, just right here for the DNC walkthrough.
Nice.
Because the convention's there this summer. So
Is it United Center?
Yeah.
Yeah.
United Center is where they're doing all the speeches. McCormick Place is where they're doing all the
Oh,
party
nice.
business.
Okay.
And so it's going to be, I think, a fantastic convention. We do need to be mindful, I think, of protesters and stuff like that this summer. But it's August 19th to the 22nd in Chicago. And we had a lot of conversations. All the state chairs come together to talk about the election and everything. I mean, some things that people don't realize to maybe give your listeners some hope, which is, severely lacking in our politics today, is, Donald Trump just basically gutted the RNC, completely took out their leadership, installed his own people, including his family. They're paying a lot of his legal fees. On our side, we have historic fundraising for both Joe Biden and the DNC. Jamie Harrison is the chair from South Carolina. He's done a good job. He's given more money to state parties like Indiana.
Nice.
And so we have a machine that's just kind of plodding along, and we know what we need to do in our areas, like the blue wall, right? Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. The polls, I don't know how much I read into polls right now. It's just so far away.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, Kevin. People look at Trump and they're like, okay, he's in court every day.
Yeah.
That's not inspiring.
No.
And they look at the president and they say, okay, he's old. And that maybe might not be inspiring to folks. And so what we just have to do is, I think, just dig in, build good campaigns, reach voters,
Get them out.
Because if Donald, I also talked to somebody the other day who said something really insightful, which was every day Donald Trump literally is in a courtroom, and it makes him just look kind of small.
I agree with you.
every
And silent,
day-
right? Because you're so used to him being so bombastic.
And
he's
every
sitting
day,
there,
it's just sort of like he has to sit there and listen to people, and he looks grumpy, and it's just like if he's doing that literally every day for
That's
dozens of weeks, and then Joe Biden is in the Rose Garden signing things and passing legislation and supporting our allies, and he's got a great record that he's passed a lot
We
of
just
good
have to
things.
get it out there and
We
get
have
energy.
to get that
and
out
it's,
there.
I think there's there's an energy factor to this to get our vote out in November,
Right.
and it's key.
Right.
Can I
yeah.
the RFK situation? I know that there's Democratic parties across the country that are really worried about that, and they're challenging his ability to appear on the ballot. He's not going to be on the ballot in Indiana, is he?
No.
I didn't think so.
I don't think he is, because as you know, Tom,
Yeah.
it's a heavy, and Kevin,
Damn, man.
it is a big hurdle.
PTSD over
Big
here.
time.
Yes.
It's we're either the hardest or the second hardest state to get on the ballot in the United States
Not easy.
with our signature requirements.
And we've talked about that plenty of times on this
So-
show. That was probably the most daunting task.
Yeah.
I mean, running around the state, I enjoyed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Getting the signatures during that whole stressful period,
Yeah.
that sucked.
Yeah.
in the winter.
But RFK, I mean, the DNC has done a two-pronged strategy, which is number one, legal. Look at how he's filing in different states. Is it possible to challenge that in any way? And then the second is communications. Why is he running? What does he believe?
Right.
It's kind of weird.
Yes.
Because I think that we've learned our lessons from Nader, Jill Stein.
Right. Absolutely.
people like that you have to take this on very early.
Ross Perot.
In order to move things around. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I'll say is, the last thing I'll say on this is, again, try to convey a hopeful message is, since Joe Biden beat Donald Trump in 2020, every year consistently has been pretty good for Democrats at the ballot box across the country.
Good point.
Special elections, the midterms, all those different races have been pretty good. Governor's races, Andy Beshear, just south of us.
In Kentucky.
Gretchen Whitmer, obviously.
Doesn't that make you scratch your head though? Like in Kentucky, when the Democrat wins, you're like, "What the hell?
What are we doing up here? We're like
Right?
we're surrounded by Democratic
But it
governors."
makes me wonder.
And like,
Going back to that book, it makes me wonder.
I agree.
If
Is it
it's
just
like so
deep-seated?
ingrained, this hatred that's been there for hundreds of years, is it so ingrained that it's going to poison Democratic candidates? I don't know. It's just.
I mean, you
it
think
makes
about it:
wonder,
Wisconsin, Michigan,
Michigan,
Kentucky,
another one. That gets
Illinois.
me.
You have.
I don't really see.
And then
Indiana
Ohio
being-
has Sherrod Brown.
That's right.
So,
In Indiana, we don't have any state
senator.
elected officials right
Right.
now. We need them.
We're working on that.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Mike, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having
By the
me.
way, I think honestly we have great candidates. I mean,
Always.
I know Destiny, and Beth White. By the way, I know she's a great lady. Also, I'm partial to Destiny because I know her so well. But that's a great lady too.
Yep.
And then of course you got Jennifer running for governor, super smart. Great ladies running across the state.
Yeah, and I will say the last thing. Do I have a minute or so?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The last thing is
We're a podcast.
our goal.
Yeah, we
A
can talk all day.
woke podcast.
There's no show next.
We're awake all day, man, with this wonderful coffee from this law firm.
That's
yeah.
Now you're talking. I got to have you on
Jeez.
more often.
Yeah. Oh, I hurt myself. Where's the PI? So the last thing I'll say is I mentioned the MAGA starting lineup, those four guys.
I like that.
I think what that does for us in suburbs and different places around the state is it gives us opening to try to break the supermajority.
Yeah.
We need 4 seats in the state house
Good call.
to do that.
Good
And I
point.
think that is incredibly important because if we added an extra Democrat in the General Assembly to every committee, we can start to stop, slow, change, kill bad legislation.
Yeah.
And Hoosiers desperately want that to
And if we
happen.
get slow things down, then the Republicans got to talk to you, and then it just
Yes.
changes the dynamics.
Yeah.
Because right now
Yeah.
they're like, we don't even have to talk to you
Yeah,
guys.
and if we break the supermajority, they cannot gavel in or gavel out without Democrats.
So
There
we
you
need
go.
a place to start, and then we just keep going.
That's right.
Thanks for coming back on, man.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Good
Great
to see
to-
you
As
guys.
the,
Great way to
the
start the
Indiana
season.
Democratic Party Chairman Mike Schmuhl, frequent guest on Lockpod. It's great to see you back. I know you've been on honestly 3 or 4
Yeah.
times
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, So thank you for
Virtually
coming
in
back.
person.
Yeah,
That's great.
French Lick,
Everything.
French Lick.
I can't wait to see the next office. Skyscraper.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going up. 20th floor.
and we can't miss this because your connection to Pete. But this was in the news this week. This affects everyone.
Uh-oh.
No, this is a good thing. This
Okay.
is a good thing.
Good.
If your flight's delayed, is this true? If flight's delayed or canceled, you get an automatic refund now. Did you hear about this?
Department of Transportation.
Mike, you got
DOT.
to take responsibility.
How much did Pete? Let's talk about that.
Indiana
Double it.
Democrats.
You're welcome.
How much did Pete have
Send me
to
your
do
freaking
with this?
flyer miles.
Yeah, that's huge. That is huge.
I mean, Pete. I think Pete will go down. He's been DOT secretary for a long time, and the stuff he's had to tackle
Yeah, man.
Unbelievable.
and approach.
Bridge
being-
falls down in
And this is an
Baltimore.
example of being
Yeah.
an advocate for travelers
Yeah.
and people. I mean, he's going to go down as a very, very consequential secretary.
and consumer advocate. I mean, it's really,
Infrastructure
Yeah.
projects that you know about,
Yeah.
Mayor
Yeah.
Tom.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
So good.
So,
It's always nice to have. We always feel like when we need something from DOT, we got an ally over there, which is nice.
Yep.
You know? So,
absolutely.
thank you for appearing back on the show.
Yeah, thank you guys.
On our season 12 premiere. So.
Oh,
Joe?
honored.
couldn't have started it in a better
You
place.
couldn't get the supervisor of Dalton or whatever.
She's busy right now, unfortunately.
I think you guys are going to get a Pulitzer for your
Oh,
coverage.
I like that.
I hope
I
so.
like
I
that.
hope
Deep,
so.
deep coverage.
When we
potty.
started covering it, everybody else started paying attention. I do notice that. So we were like, this lady's great for us. We got to cover
Got
her.
to keep going.
Unbelievable.
Lockpod,
Yeah.
deep throat of Dalton.
I mean, Pete was kind of like that as mayor of South Bend, but I
Yeah,
hit a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
Good
right.
idea.
You
You're
had to
chief
keep
of
them under
staff.
You
control.
know, the fleet of SUVs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. We're back on. It's great to see you, Jay Vez. Thanks for the help.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Welcome back to America. And Jill, thank you again for coming on. You're doing, what's that?
What do you mean?
Welcome back to
surprised.
America.
Well, you were talking about going overseas. I
I'm
was
surprised Mike
Oh,
Brown
you're
let him
talking
in.
about going
I know,
overseas.
right? Mike Brown, who's going to change that. So,
Keep him out.
yeah, right. Keep Vesmar out. No kidding.
Jeez.
Yeah. Keep those Trumpers over there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jill, it's great to see you back. Jill, you're doing Fridays this season again?
Apparently.
That's awesome.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you for the nut roll.
And thank you for celebrating. You know, it's Kevin's birthday today.
Oh my gosh.
55.
Double nickels,
Happy
man.
birthday.
Freaking old, man.
Yes.
Double nickels?
Double
Yeah.
nickels, just like the mayor. It's nothing.
Dick, you don't have to. So thank you for the nut roll, Joe. Appreciate you. Welcome back. Oh, that's snow, by the way. We're
We'll
going to
get
hang that on
a
the
whole
wall.
nother story.
It's a whole nother story, but it's
Did
great.
you get that at Cabela's?
Yeah, we got it for Kevin's birthday. So
Jill did.
happy birthday, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thanks for being the compass
Yeah, we're
and,
back.
and leading us in the right direction.
Try.
And coming to you live from Munster, Indiana, it's Mayor Tom. Thank you for listening to Lockpod, Season 12, Episode 1. We're going to be back on Tuesday with more to talk about. Thanks, everybody. Lockpod is out.